Why, hello. I was just casually thinking about origins of life and energy on Earth. Care to join me? Come.
Life on planet Earth is an interesting area of research. Today, we will focus on the origin of ATP and its metabolic pathways. Scientists believe that our primordial world had little to no oxygen before life began, but there were many other compounds and elements. To get some ideas, let's look at the Miller-Urey experiment. This experiment involved electronic shock waves being sent through gases and other compounds that were similar to those of primitive Earth. They found that they could spontaneously create organic compounds and several amino acids through this method. Thus, they proposed that life on Earth could have appeared in a similar manner. The first cells on Earth were considered to be simple prokaryotes that lived in hypoxic oceans. They emerged through hydrothermal vents that spewed out high concentrations of minerals. But in order for this life to persist, they needed metabolism. We know of this as adenosine triphosphate and its metabolic pathways. In between the phosphates, high-energy bonds called phosphoanhydrate bonds exist. Each bond releases a free energy of negative 30.5 kJ per mole. In this context, free energy is energy that cells make use of in an enclosed system through formation of these bonds. One theory states that the first energy currency that appeared on Earth was an acetylphosphate. This is because it has the capability to phosphorylate, add a phosphate group into a compound, ATP into ATP. It also has a free energy of negative 43 kilojoules per mole in hydrolysis. Another idea is that a pyrophosphate could have been a primordial form of ATP, as it's also high in energy. Now that we have a better idea of energy currency, let's talk about processes for creating energy currency. It is theorized that metabolic pathways for ATP evolved through three stages: glycolysis, photosynthesis, and oxidative metabolism. The first metabolic process of creating ATP was fermentation, or glycolysis, discovered by Louis Pasteur and Gustave Emden. In detail, fermentation by definition is an anaerobic metabolic pathway in which glycolysis converts glucose to oftentimes lactic acid and energy. Glycolysis is the process of converting glucose to energy. It could produce two ATP molecules and pyruvic acid. Next pathway was photosynthesis, discovered by Jan Ingenhousz. Conditions on Earth were ideal for the advantageous selectivity of another metabolic pathway, thus photosynthesis had come to light. During photosynthesis, sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water are needed to make energy for the organism, with oxygen as its byproduct. Earth's oxygen levels began to rise as photosynthetic organisms appeared. As a result, another pathway arose. In the new oxygen-rich environment, oxidative metabolism began appearing in organisms. This method uses oxygen to make energy from carbohydrates. Through the oxidative breakdown of glucose into CO2 and H2O, around 30 ATP molecules can be formed. Today, photosynthesis and oxidative metabolism are the most common in earthly life.